Co-Conspirators is a comedy podcast. We in no way endorse or believe the theories suggested during our program. Everything can be explained. Everything. In 1587, Sir Walter Raleigh sent John White to establish a colony in the Chesapeake Bay. Where White ended up, however, is at Roanoke, in what is today North Carolina. White soon left to procure more supplies for the burgeoning colony, leaving his family behind, including his infant granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first colonist born in the New World. Due to the Anglo-Spanish War, White would not return for nearly 3 years. When he did in 1590, White found an empty settlement, fortified and with a palisade built. The houses had been deconstructed, and little remained of his former life. All that was left? A single word, carved into the palisade and surrounding trees. Croatoan. There are many theories as to what happened to the Lost Colony of Roanoke, but what really happened? We'll find out today on Co-Conspirators. Hello! I'm your host, Alex, and with me are Sloan, Niko, and Justice. Hey guys!
Hey. I'm Justice.
I'm Sloan.
And I'm Niko.
So, we're going to talk about the Lost Colony today. How's everybody feel about that?
I'm a little lost already. I haven't heard about or thought about the Lost Colony since high school.
Alright.
Fantastic.
I'm ready for this. I've been out to the places I'm going to discuss from my notes, so...
Wait, have you really?
I'm really excited.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll explain it all
Yeah,
later.
we did not have that good of a field trip in school.
No, God no.
But I guess if we're going to try and find like a lost colony, like we're not going to find anything.
Yeah, I guess that is in the name.
So
So actually, let's talk about one of the very popular theories as to what happened to the Lost Colony.
Of Roanoke.
Of Roanoke, yes.
is there another one?
And Roanoke was the first English attempt at a colony in the modern-day United States. And it didn't land where they wanted it to, but they stuck with their first location for a few tries.
We're going to talk about everything that went wrong with the fucking Roanoke colony, because it was a comedy of errors every step of the way. But, so one of the big theories is that just everyone in the Roanoke colony was attacked and killed by Native Americans. Which, like, that's just too easy, honestly.
Okay, I remember there being like a name carved into a tree with like an arrow, and it was like a Native American.
I remember
it was
that.
like a Native
It was
American tribe, I
Roanoke.
think, was like around there. It was like
It was an island that a Native American tribe lived on.
Well, okay. Roanoke itself was an island. What was carved into a post was the word Croatoan.
I was gonna say Krakatoa.
Oh, like that episode of Supernatural.
It was Croatan.
I've seen that episode.
Croatoan is like a volcano?
No, that's Krakatoa, which is what I thought.
Krakatoa.
Yeah.
So
No,
was it like a
it's-
zombie
it's
apocalypse?
Croatoan. I listened to a bunch of
No,
people
it's
say it
definitely
for my
Croatan.
research. Okay.
All right. So what what is your
Alright.
theory as to why it's called Croatoan?
My theory is that they heard some frogs and they misspelled croak.
I like that one.
It's like how people in other countries use different like onomatopoeia or like sound words for different things. You just think that they miswrote or they just interpreted it differently than
Yeah,
we
so
would.
like the guy who like carved into the tree, like his day job was working at Starbucks, and so like he's just used to spelling
Ye old
things wrong.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, back then it was new.
I think it was, god damn it, ye new Starbucks. I think it was just like they had corvids, like, pulling all their boats and stuff, you know, Croatoan.
Oh, like crows, and they were towing their boats.
Corvids,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Croatoan, yeah. You know, comedy, first rule of comedy, Sloan, is, you know, you explain the joke and it definitely doesn't die, and
I did
you
not
viciously murder it, just...
understand what you were saying is what happened here, okay?
So like you did research, Spain, I understand,
Yeah,
on like what.
somewhat, sure.
And your theory was that they were all killed? What was your
So-
other
No,
theory?
that's a very common theory. I have my own theories.
What sort of evidence was there to back up the Indian attack?
Native American, you animal. Now you gotta put a disclaimer because you're a racist.
I mean, when you're talking about,
Oh,
like,
God.
U.S. history and you're referring to Indians, like, you do mean, like, Native Americans specifically to the United States. It is kind of like a more specific subset.
We could call them like
I think. I don't know.
Croatoans. Krakatoas.
They're not Croatoans though. That's not the tribe.
Oh, you're
I
right.
can't.
I thought it was the island.
It's the, yes. Okay. Fuck it.
the island's called Roanoke.
I forgot which the words.
All right. Point is, so yeah, they just because they're all racist and they just assume the brown people killed everyone. Is kind of what their running theory was. There was also like some looked like whites, like old stuff had been dug up and like rooted through, but that could be explained by a lot of things other than a massive murder. It's not like they just found bodies strewn about.
So, I will lend a little credence to the Native American attack theory because the 1587 colony on Roanoke, led by White, was not the first attempt at this location. In 1585, there was the first colony that actually landed on this location, and they were a more military attempt at settlement, and they actually were attacked by the locals, and it was an issue, and it was considered failed, and they all left. Like, they had to evacuate that colony at the time, when they returned, when John White led the expedition back in 1587, it was a reattempt at the same location. They tried to go back with better knowledge of the people, thinking that would help them.
So when you said there were things dug up,
Yeah, like White had like
rooted around,
suitcases and shit
are
like
we
that.
sure that they did not dig tunnels and become mole people, and that they couldn't find them because they had no thoughts about this? Right? They didn't think to dig or look underneath them. There were no
I would like to
seismologists.
say that the Roanoke Island is an island at water level, and when you
You
dig,
get water.
it goes to water.
But Sloan, have you
Okay,
have
you're right.
considered
Fish people.
that
Fish people. There you go. All right, I'm on board. That makes sense.
Boom, mermaids.
Mermals.
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 That's the parlance is mermals.
So wait, you said that they left and then they came back with like more military people?
No, so 1585, the first attempt was actually led by Ralph Lane, and they had issues. 1587, John White led the expedition this time, and they actually came back with like families. It was like women and children, and they were all had a stake in making this work more. Like, they were going to live here, and it was going to be their land. So it was a different approach, hoping that people that would be more invested because it was going to be their livelihood would succeed more at this location.
And they didn't think like, hey, let's try just, I don't know, 5 miles away and see if it works better.
I think that would have been underwater.
Well, okay,
It's an island, you're right.
They did. They were supposed to go to the Chesapeake Bay, but they came upon the Roanoke settlement, and like the guys who had been left there to like protect Sir Walter Raleigh's claim were like, "Hey, you're gonna stay here," and they're like, "What?" And it's like, "No, you live here now," and they're like, "Okay."
That was part of the reason that ended up being Roanoke, is the attempt was because since it was where they had landed the first time and found it, it was where they kind of considered their territory. So it's kind of, they just wanted to be maybe a little more greedy and just make sure that this spot stayed theirs.
I mean, it was probably just like a couple huts with like that the colonists had made. Like, what? Like, how valuable was
the
it?
one Starbucks.
It's like,
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it
this
had
was
a
never
Starbucks.
more than it was like 120 people. But they just, I don't know, they placed some value in it. They were definitely trying to beat Spain at the time. England was trying to beat Spain in getting more land along the North American coast.
It's all about, claims, and we're gonna do this,
So
and
kind of like a big capture the flag.
All right, well, Sloan, as like the one
yeah, but
person,
then you just murder Native Americans.
as the one person who's been to Roanoke, like, what kind of gift shop do they have there?
It's very tacky. It's a lot of like
Those are the best ones,
Ghost
though.
stuff.
they have like the Native American costumes that they don't sell on other stores anymore and things like that. And there's
Okay, follow-up question.
there's like bows and arrows.
Follow-up question. Can
Yeah.
I get like a license plate with my name on it? Do they sell?
Your name
Yes, but-
specifically might be kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
Look.
Niko doesn't
But it's
pop
spelled
up
with
a
a
lot.
C.
Okay, but what if I got like one for Steve? Because I have like I have a friend named Steve whose birthday's coming up, and I'm thinking like that'll be great.
There's definitely a Steve license plate.
Okay, good. Sorry, that was a little bit of a personal thing. We can continue.
Go ahead.
I have a theory that I don't think anyone's really thought about. What if it's ghosts? Ghost got him.
Ghosts.
Yeah. What if
Where
they?
do these ghosts come from?
It's Roanoke. It's Native
The-
American
The
land.
dead military settlers.
Okay, no, dead. It's obviously Native American burial ground, and the Whitemans, disturbed it, and super cool ghost came and murdered them.
I believe the correct term is the whites.
Well, no, the whites are like the actual people who came, but like, it wasn't just the white family; it was the Whitemans. Yeah, so the Whitemans came, they tried to settle, and then the Roanoke spirits shanked them in their sleep and ate them.
But
probably.
and so somehow there was one poltergeist ghost, and it
One
wrote
poltergeist.
Krakatoa.
It's a very spooky goose.
So once again, not Krakatoa, Croatan. Or Croatoan.
Croatan.
I don't know anymore.
Croatoan. It carved it into is it a tree? Was it a tree that was carved into?
Actually, there was 2 carvings.
There were apparently there were several carvings in the trees surrounding the area. It was just CRO. And then in the palisade of the actual settlement, Croatoan was left.
So wait, it just had CRO, like it was like an airplane
CRO
or airport.
was carved into, yeah, it was like the air designation, so that way, when the aliens came, they knew where they were landing.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
So you got onto the real theory. What really happened, Sloan?
Yeah, I think this is one of
It
those
was
common
aliens.
theories.
Wait, Span, do you actually have like a theory on like aliens? Because
I don't have a theory. None of it's real, man. We know what happened for the most part, but it's aliens. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, we know it was aliens.
but you just said
Aliens
you knew.
came.
You just said it was ghosts earlier.
Well, that's my
He said
theory.
that was
but,
a theory.
But we know it was aliens. Aliens came down, captured the most worthy, took them in the air.
This is where that theory kind of like is a little bit mixed up. So the aliens actually have been there the whole time. We keep calling them Native Americans, but they were there the whole time. They were just waiting, biding their time until the white men.
Justice, how much of this did they teach you in high school?
That was about 97% of my knowledge.
I'm trying to decide if that's racist to call Native Americans aliens. And if I can keep that, I'm gonna say I can, but man, it's a real toss-up there. I just want to put a little statement out: Native Americans are not aliens; they're as human as anybody else. They deserve all their rights. They've getting screwed since this colony. But it was aliens. Like, aliens came down, abducted everybody. Well, they didn't abduct. Let's put it that way. They came to the settlers and were like, listen, we have, like, clean water and, like, we have what's called a toilet. And the settler was like, bet, let's go. And they all just left willingly with the aliens because they had, like, plumbing.
And the ransacked stuff was just the settlers like grabbing all their stuff.
Yeah, they were like,
Go
go fucking pack it up quick. We got to go.
Okay, but
They
like,
got plumbing. They got Netflix.
all right, but like, what did these settlers have that was like so special that like the aliens were like, yeah, we want you to come with us? Because there are a bunch of like guys who couldn't even like make the first settlement work.
I mean, they made the first settlement work. Hashtag.
They couldn't make the
work.
second one work. They gave up on it.
Yeah, but this is a new crew, and they were like kicking ass, taking names, even though their leader had left.
That's-
And the aliens were like, "You guys,
Yeah,
you guys are gonna come help us colonize." And they were like, "Thank you, Lord Xenu."
Do you really want someone who's not going to commit to join you on your colony?
I mean, maybe.
If your resume is just jumping from colony to colony, like it's just that doesn't look good.
No,
Maybe they
you're a
were
good career
kind of an
colonist.
offering from Europe. They came from England, so maybe England was like, uh-oh, we know of these aliens. We need to give them these settlers as an offering. So they sent them over there.
All right.
They communicated
It was
with
like-
Stonehenge.
It was a trick.
They talked to the aliens via Stonehenge, and the aliens were like, "We want sacrifices. We want them in this specific island." And they were like, "Fucking all right. Hey, White, you and your people go towards Chesapeake Bay." And then the aliens controlled the weather and made them drift towards Roanoke, and it was aliens.
So do you think that White knew and didn't tell anybody? Because he left a month after they got there to go back to get supplies.
No.
I
don't
got
think he
this
knew.
one. I got this
Nah.
one. So Sloan, White is actually he is the founder of a startup called Roanoke, and his entire goal was to sell out the entire time, and he sold out to this alien race called Google, and that's kind of what happened there.
It's all making sense.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, we will sell out. I will sell out to anyone who wants to sponsor this.
we will get that auto.
I will shill any ad you want me to shill. I just really want to put that out there. Pilot episode, anything you want, done.
Oh my god.
Trying to make that money. Start the empire.
We're gonna get an Audible
So-
sponsorship by episode 4.
Oh, fuck.
It
From
happened.
your
How
mouth to God's
influential
ear.
do you think the Roanoke startup was in our modern day Google overlords?
I think it was. I mean, it kind of set the stage for like the research triangle area. With like all the tech companies there. So I think it was pretty influential. I mean, do you
That makes
see
sense.
if they had gotten to Chesapeake Bay, you would be seeing a research triangle up in Maryland, Baltimore area.
There would never have been Google Maps.
Yeah.
That's where Chesapeake Bay is. Not good at
I also
geography.
did not know where Chesapeake Bay was
Oh my
or
God.
how far
do you
they
guys
messed
know
up.
about the alien marker on John White's map?
No.
Okay. John White
Was it actually aliens?
John White was an artist as well as an explorer, and he was a very good cartographer. And let's see, between 1585 and 1593, he worked on a map of the North Carolina coast. And he did, because maps were very hard to make, obviously it took him a long time to make one that was very accurate.
You just Google it. I don't know what's so hard about it.
Well, that's why they got bought
Well,
out by Google.
This is how they
wanted-
started the Google
they
Maps.
wanted him for
He had to
Google
make
Maps,
this
yeah.
map first.
The technology is there.
He was
It's a prototype.
exactly like, so to fix them, if you ever made a mistake on a map, to fix it, you would put like this patch on the paper and like seal it down and just draw over it.
And that's the real technology Google is after, like owning.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So, okay, for some reason, in 2012, the First Colony Organization asked the British Museum to do some specific testing on the map to see if these patches revealed anything. And it turns out that it did, using like X-ray and infrared light and things like that. One of the patches was covering a mark that was inland from the colony. It was like a four-pointed star shape that was outlined in blue and filled in red. And it could denote a fort, but some people think that it was the location of a landing craft that may have taken the colonists, and that's why he patched over it to hide it. Because after he patched over it, he possibly used either milk or lemon juice as an invisible ink, like National Treasure style, to remark the same spot on top of the patch if anyone ever wanted to find it.
So what you're saying is Nick Cage went and got all the colonists from Roanoke.
And he used those glasses with the blue and the yellow lenses to see the invisible
those
ink.
glasses may have been left by the Roanoke colony
Oh my
so that he could
gosh.
find them.
We are busting this wide open.
So now we're getting to something that I actually care about. Is this going to be the plot of National Treasure 3?
Do you want
We can hope.
to? Hey, do you guys want to stop this podcast right now and write National Treasure 3?
I think so. I think it's already being in the
I
works.
think,
Yeah.
I mean,
This is gonna be
John
our.
White did have to work for us.
This is gonna be
so.
our Indiana Jones and the Crystal of the Kingdom Skull. Fuck! Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's all aliens. Oh, we've cracked the fucking mystery, guys.
We'll
Go,
have
wrap it
to
up, go
for
on.
copyright reasons. We'll have to change the name of Google though. So
We'll name it Bing.
Jujul.
Bing.
Jujul.
Ask Jeeves.
Or I'm pretty sure Ask Jeeves is alien. I don't trust him.
Just like
Yeah, he was just
Akinator.
always there, looking at me.
Well, that
Oh.
theory had a lot more weight than I thought it would.
Yeah, but okay.
Did it?
I mean, all right. Well, I mean, like, what I learned in school was that they just left. They went back to England so Pocahontas could go back there and they could film the direct-to-VHS sequel.
Right.
As I mean, like, does that line up with any of your theories, Spain?
There actually is one of the other common theories is they got lost at sea. They just tried to sail back to England and just never seen
Because
again.
they didn't
Then
have
how did
Google
Pocahontas
Maps.
get
They were
back?
trying to use the prototype.
Oh, that's a whole other, that's John Smith, man. It's not John White.
That was
it's John Smith.
different.
It's a whole different,
Oh.
Yeah.
So the history books got John White's name wrong.
Those two guys. Two.
Uh-huh.
Are you okay, Justice?
I don't remember their names.
Which
The
two?
expedition, and they go up the river.
Lewis and Clark?
El Dorado?
Lewis and Clark. Aren't they the ones who found Pocahontas?
I mean, you're off by like a couple of centuries.
I also learned apparently Sir Walter
yeah.
Raleigh was looking for El Dorado at one point during my research.
Yeah.
Never knew that. I learned more about. I've lived in North Carolina my entire life. I learned more about its history during those 15 minutes of research I did for this podcast than I did in fucking 18 years of schooling.
So wait, is
Yeah.
El Dorado in North Carolina?
Yes. I mean that's just
They don't
fact.
teach you that in public school, though.
We have to save this for a future podcast.
Our El Dorado is next episode.
This is a sneak preview.
Next time on. Anybody else got some really wild ass theories you want to shoot around?
I think that it could be just one whole big conspiracy, is that the islanders didn't actually disappear. They were just there, like normal. And when John White came back, they were all just like, hey, wouldn't it be really funny if we all pretended that we weren't here? And so he just wrote a letter, and he was like, they're all gone. I don't know where they are. And
crazy.
nobody ever went to check.
So he just covered for them and let them hide out.
Yeah. And they're still there to this day.
The same people?
Yeah.
They found El Dorado. They're immortal. It's fucking awesome.
I mean, have you all seen The Invisible Man? What if they all became invisible people? They're still there.
Yeah.
It's always
We
a
would never
Dooku.
be able to tell.
It's always a Dooku with you.
But he was wearing a suit. That means that they would have to get alien technology to create the invisible suits.
Hey, hold
Or
on.
they're
Hold on.
Is that what happened?
Spoilers. What the fuck?
Is this
No,
a...
we're gonna
we
talk
over
about
yet?
what really happened, or what.
Oh, okay.
There isn't a
There's-
concrete
I
answer.
have another theory. 'Cause
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
in all of my prep work and research, I had to be prepared for any theory that you guys threw out there. The one I kind of thought you might hit us with was, it has been theorized that there was a zombie outbreak.
I
said that earlier.
forgot about the zombie outbreak. I was gonna make a joke about zombies and it didn't fuck that. We've got another 10 minutes of this podcast because the goddamn zombies came and they got the colonists. Them there zombies was like,
okay.
And
then they decomposed.
Okay, well, what part?
And there was no
like,
evidence.
what evidence is there to support that there were zombies other than wish fulfillment?
There are
no
two
bodies.
things. So he passed away in 2017, and I couldn't find any of his work, but there was
John White?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, John White died in
My
2017. There was a Harvard professor who claimed he had evidence of mass cannibalization on Roanoke. After he came out with that, zombiehunter.org or something like that, the guy there was like, it was an island. They were zombies, but it didn't spread because it was contained since it was an island. So there's that. But I couldn't find what proof he had of mass cannibalization or that it specifically was in the 1600s when the Roanoke colonists were there or anything like that. But
So, because like this
maybe.
guy theorized that there's mass cannibalization, people ran with the idea of like, the only reason that someone would eat someone else is not because of hunger, but because they were infected with a zombie virus.
Yeah, it's zombies. It's the Croatoan virus. Just like Supernatural.
How big was the island?
How what?
How big was the island?
Google
like,
it.
Was it a mile big?
Like this big,
I'm
That's a
not
good question. Let me
Googling.
look at
like about this big.
Oh, thanks, Niko.
about that big.
Yeah.
Hold up your hand.
About this
Yeah,
big.
it's for the audio podcast.
Because maybe if it was big enough, they just all hid on one side of the island because they really didn't like John White, and he went back
He had
like,
cooties.
without finding them. Yeah, he had cooties.
Like in a cartoon where
he
it's
was
like there's a
like-
tree and like one character's on one side and they just slowly circle each other.
Yeah, the entire colony did that. On
Or like in
around
any
one
horror game.
really large tree. There was one tree in the middle of town.
Just a one tree hill. That's what that show's about, right? Never seen it. I just kind of assume it's about Roanoke.
I mean, it was
didn't know
filmed.
that
It was
was-
filmed in like Wilmington, so maybe.
Was it really? Huh.
Is
Yeah.
almost 18 square miles.
Oh, it's bigger than I
That's a
thought.
huge island.
It's a big island.
Yeah. I mean, it's not massive. Like, it would be a good sized space, though, for a colony.
I mean, for like 100 people, it's pretty massive.
It's bigger than one football
Yeah.
field.
Yeah. I mean, even as of 2000, they still had under 7,000 people living on the island.
There are people living there today? Don't they know they're zombies? And aliens and ghosts? Holy shit.
And Pocahontas isn't even there anymore, so I don't get what the point is.
Was Pocahontas from Roanoke? I don't actually, or Croatoan?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay.
Yes, she was. I saw I saw the Disney documentary.
I have a video of Niko silently going, no, and immediately doubles down. Yeah, she was, yeah.
But too bad this is an audio podcast.
Yeah, no shit. Okay, so let's get down to what most likely happened.
Alright, so during the time that the colony was first established, the one that went missing, quote unquote, it was one of the worst droughts that the coast had seen in a long time. So food was very hard to come by. They had a friendly Native American companion called Monteo. He had actually evacuated with the previous colony and spent a few years in England where he'd been baptized. He was very familiar with English culture. He was friends with John White and John White's family. John White's daughter went with them back to Roanoke. She actually had a baby there. It was the first baby born to English parents in America, Virginia Dare. And now, like, all the locations around there are called Dare, like Dare County and things like that. They're named after the family. But Monteo was actually a Croatan Indian, and they were located on what is now Hatteras Island, which is south of Roanoke. So, most likely, whether it was hostile local Indians or the drought, we know that there was food shortages. That's why John White left in the first place. The settlers probably went with Monteo south to Hatteras to survive, pretty much. It was like one of their only options. Between the years of 1701 and 1709, John Lawson visited Hatteras Island and found that the Native Americans there had gray eyes, denoting that they were a mix of European and Native American, and they claimed that they were the descendants of the Roanoke settlers. It's very likely that that's true. In 2015, there was a dig on Hatteras that found 16th century items that would have been the belongings of the Roanoke colonists. So I don't know why this isn't more publicized or anything like that, but
Everybody loves a mystery.
they just went with their one trusted ally in the New World. They just went to where his family was from, where his tribe was, and it was just survival.
Okay, so what I have learned today is that Pocahontas' Christian name was Monteo.
Yes.
That is what I gathered from this.
Baptized.
But, yeah.
Called Monteo. That's right.
Basically...
And then they all moved underwater and formed Atlantis.
Jesus
What did you? Yeah.
God.
What did everybody learn?
Why didn't you say that earlier? That would have been such a great thread to go down.
I was going with the mer people.
What are we going to do?
Mermals.
Atlantis? We'll have it in
Oh, we'll
Atlantis
do it.
episode.
We're gonna do Atlantis. We gotta. But yeah. So basically, the moral of the story is, white peoples just want to say brown peoples kill them, when really they save their lives and they're ungrateful.
The only reason that this was ever considered a mystery is because when John White attempted to sail from Roanoke to Hatteras, twice his voyage was interrupted by storms that caused them to have to go north again. And the ship he was on was privately owned, and the captain was like, I'm not doing this anymore. You know, you have to try this again. John White returned to England. Possibly he would have gone back in the future, but he died 3 years later. So nobody ever went to look for them. It was assumed that they had traveled south to Hatteras.
Yeah, I mean, like, every time a boat tried to do anything, like, with this colony, like I said at the, like, top of the show, something went wrong. Usually it was some kind of weather. Anytime anyone got near Roanoke, they just got off course immediately.
I mean, the Outer Banks aren't great for sailing.
It's not great, no.
No.
Yeah.
They call it
Makes
the
sense.
baby Bermuda Triangle.
And that's why
Not
it's
down.
been a
Wait,
fucking
not down in Bermuda.
quote-unquote mystery.
This is the baby Bermuda Triangle.
Okay.
The
a different
baby
one.
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, it's a different one.
It wants to grow up one day to be a Bermuda Triangle.
One day. Fingers crossed. But okay, I think that does it for the pilot episode of Co-Conspirators. Thanks for thanks for this, guys. I feel like we all learned a lot. Mostly it was aliens and zombies. Zombie aliens.
Yeah, I learned something
That
today.
episode.
Wasn't expecting that.
Well, sure you did. Alright, well, thanks, guys. We'll catch everybody in the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.